my husband told me that I should video some of the stuff that I do because it could be helpful to others. Maybe a side hustle, we'll see. So very first video I'm ever going to create, I am going to set up a sleeping bag in my lovely snow-covered backyard here. Set up a sleep system and test out some of the equipment I bought. We're headed to Vermont in January to do dog sledding with our troop, and so I want to make sure I've got the warmest possible combination for sleeping. I'm going to set up an MSR, put this around here, 3-person tent. The reason I'm setting up the MSR instead of the tent that I will likely take with me camping is because I want to have enough room inside to be able to maneuver and try to do video of what exactly I'm doing inside the tent. We have visitors. Don't know if you can see them back there. 1, 2, 3. I think there's a 4th one behind the tree. Yeah, over to the left. Hello, babies. So here's my rather imprecise way that we're going to read temperatures. Ground temperature right now is reading 17.3. That is Fahrenheit. Okay, needed to make sure I was on Fahrenheit. Because, you know, I'm an American and I still don't know how to do Celsius. Okay, MSR Elixir 3. Which I can't stake out at all because the ground is frozen solid. The tent that I will be camping in is a Durston X-Dome 1 Plus. Could not remember the name of it, and I kept wanting to say X-Mid. Okay, now that tent is set up, I have a very old Thermarest. It's a chair. No idea what year it was purchased. It's been a long time. Have no idea what the R value is on this, but it's an inflatable. It's got a cover on it, lovely purple and teal green. Makes me think that maybe it's from the 1980s. I have a Sea2 Summit Etherlight XT. This is supposed to have an R value of 3.4 and just arrived today, and I suspect it already has a leak, is a, there we go, put it over, Alps Mountaineering, which says R.8. The Sea2 Summit and the Alps both have bags that help you inflate. The bag you just kind of shake it to put enough air inside, then you compress the bag. You can see it fills in. The bag for Sea2 Summit is self-contained with the bag that the sleeping pad rolls up into. The one for the Alps, it's inside the house, but I can show you later. So despite the fact that this is supposed to be a 3-person tent, you can see, and partly it's because I don't have it staked out, it's not quite the width that it ought to be, but there's no way I'm getting all 3 of these pads to go side by side. I did get the extra wide pads. I'm a side sleeper and I like to roll around, so those narrow 22, 23-inch pads are not doing it for me. So I guess what I'll do is probably start with one, swap out in the middle of the night. I do have a foam pad underneath the, oh good gravy. This is an old pad that my boys used, can buy at the Scout shop. It's an accordion fold. It has seen many, many, many years of use, but I am going to keep that underneath each of the pads. I have a pillow here. It's an Equinox, old. Again, almost everything I own is kind of old. Pillow. I sometimes will leave this actually rolled up because I'm a side sleeper. I like a lot of loft. And then here's my other unknown. I have this North Face sleeping bag. It was given to me. Has a really lovely warm collar right here with a separate drawstring. Oh my gosh, I love this thing. It's the first sleeping bag I've ever had that has a collar in it. Don't know how I lived without one before, but I have no information about this bag in terms of what the fill power is. There is a tag that says goose down on the inside. It does not fit into a 10-liter sack or 15. I can squeeze it into a 20-liter sack, so that gives you some kind of idea of the size of it. And so I'm going to start off with the Thermarest with the foam pad underneath, and we'll see how that goes. Back to the Alps Mountaineering. So this is the bag that it came in, and you can see on the bottom of the bag, and my apologies, if I continue to do this, I should say that's a big if, I'll get a tripod and get a stationary camera set up so that it's easier to see what I'm doing. But this is how you fill it. This Velcros across the bottom there of the stuff sack, kind of like a little handle. And then at the top here, it just rolls, regular dry sack. It's not a very large sleeping pad in terms of its packed size. It's pretty similar to the Etherlite Sea to Summit, but is slightly heavier. Again, I'm very skeptical about the R value of 8 degrees, but we'll see. What I think I'm gonna do, oh my God, my hat is looking very crooked. Distraction. What I think I'm gonna do is go ahead and climb inside the sleeping bag. I'll set a timer for 30 minutes. Hop out of the sleeping bag and take a temperature rating of what the top of the sleeping pad says. Again, not super scientific, but just wanting to kind of get some sense of how each of these sleeping pads is going to perform before we get up to Vermont and I'm camping outside while all my boys are inside nice and toasty warm in the cabin. Temperature on top of the sleeping pad right now is 32.9. One last thing before I climb into the sleeping bag. The temperature outside right now, according to weather.com, is 29 degrees. A couple things to note while I wait for the timer to go off. I am sleeping in my hoodie just because I don't want to die when I get out of the sleeping bag. I do have a smart wool thermal top that I sleep in with a different sweatshirt, just a thin synthetic, but it's got an insulated layer at the front and a mock turtleneck. It's from REI. Nice piece of equipment. I actually bought it for my trail runs in the winter, and that works out really well. Pair of leggings. I will add a fleece liner and a knit cap, but for now, because it's 29 degrees, not super cold, okay, first timer has gone off. Here we go. Let's see what we've got here. We've got 73.2 for the Thermarest. That's right where my back was. I've been laying flat on my back. At the foot, we've got 42.9. All right, let's throw the, I don't know, what have we got here? The Alps. Let's try the Alps before it deflates too much more, and then we'll see how that goes. Because we've been outside for a bit, let's take an initial reading for the Alps, 36.1. Just got back into the sleeping bag on top of the Alps. It's so cold. And it's not even that cold outside. I'm just a baby, which is part of the reason I'm doing this, because I just don't want to be freezing cold. We're going to be in Vermont for 3 nights. You can tell it's getting darker, losing light, and I probably should have started this a little bit earlier, but initial impressions, I've only been laying on the Alps for about 5 minutes now. It's taking a lot longer to warm up than the Thermarest did, and my butt is cold. Almost completely dark here now. Less than a minute to go on the, here, let me just turn this around. Less than a minute to go on the timer for the Alps Mountaineering pad, and my butt is still cold. Either the Thermarest just has a way higher R value than I thought it did, or the R8 claim on the Alps is not accurate, which I sort of suggested earlier, and that was just based off of how it felt in my hands. The Sea to Summit Etherlight, I can actually feel insulation inside of it. The Alps, I couldn't feel anything at all other than like kind of a crinkle almost inside. Tough to describe it in words, but timer should be going off. All right, it read 59 when I first got up. It reads 48 now, just because I didn't have the video set up right, because I'm technologically challenged and don't exactly have the right equipment to be doing this. But I don't know, said 59. Like I said, I felt a little bit cold. I'm gonna swap it out now for the Etherlight and do it one more time. I failed to take a temperature reading on the Sea to Summit Etherlight before I got in the sleeping bag and started the timer again. But the temperature outside has only dropped 1 degree since I started doing this, so I think it's fairly safe to say that it probably had a very similar starting temperature rating as the Alps did when I first laid down. See you in a few. Okay, here we go. Flip over, grab the, 64.2.